Hey everybody, I'm really excited about tonight's lesson. So the past couple videos, what I've been doing is showing you guys how to scribble and then take all of your thumbnails, add marker, add ballpoint pen, and also pencil to create something really unique while also being, rather loose with it. So I thought today, why not show you how to take your existing scribble and polishing that exact sketch with just a marker. You can see that I put some black cast shadows here, so I'll show you exactly how I did that. The other lessons involved taking this version and then doing a duplicate while doing a more polished version of that. So this is, you can take original scribbles and just polish them up as is. Alright, so I'm just taking a standard Bic ballpoint and I'm going to scribble on some shapes here. I seem to be getting a lot of positive feedback whenever I do these random critters, and I think in this particular lesson every single critter is going to have ears because I've noticed I haven't really been drawing a lot of ears, so why not play with these a little bit, because it does offer a really unique solution to a lot of silhouettes. It's funny, on my back patio I have this spider. It's just a garden spider. That sucker has been in my door frame for probably 3 months now. I didn't do anything to it. I love watching that thing. It's slowly become my pet. The thing has not died, and it has definitely gotten down to about 5 or 6 degrees in a couple of nights the past month. And I thought it died, it was curling up. And then I was like, nope. So I took a really good look at the spider and I figured out, did a little research. Those garden spiders can last 2 years in one spot, just as long as they eat. So I've been checking up on my little pet spider in the back, and I got the idea for this one just because of the head. Okay, so you can see, if you're drawing along with me too, you're scribbling and you start to see some shapes emerge. I'm starting to see some really cool opportunities in here where some of the limbs are pretty major. Alright, so we got that little crazy shape here. I'm just going to hint at where the mouth is, but I'm not going to pay too much attention to it yet. What I am going to do is I'm going to stop and I'm going to look at this and go, where do I know the shadows are going to exist? So remember in my past lessons where if you have if you have a light source like this, so obviously if you follow that down, the highlight's going to be here, the speck highlight or whatever you're putting it on. And then the cast shadow is going to be directly under it. So when you do these thumbnail sketches, you can indicate the shadow with just a darker line without actually having to shade too much in there. Now make sure those joints are believable. When in doubt, do a spider shape. Okay, so this is kind of a mixture of a bat and a spider, so it's pretty creepy. You know what? Why don't we add another ear? Maybe it's got double the hearing. Can't really see it right there. Okay. So how would I just take this sketch and polish it up? Well, I'm going to take a good old-fashioned Prismacolor. I'm going to take the skinny end, and I'm going to very carefully outline where I know the cast shadow is going to be underneath. But I'm going to be careful with this. I'm going to be strategic, because I know that there's going to be a cast shadow under there from the body. Now, look at this drawing and figure out where else would I know that a cast shadow would be. Well, obviously the inside of the ear on the top, because if the light's coming in this way, it's over here. This tip right here will probably cast some shadow on the ear. This is coming outwards, so that means it's probably going to be a light catcher. This earlobe is casting a shadow on top of that ear, while all of these, well, this one especially, maybe that one's casting a shadow on the bottom. So you have the very faint indication of an ear. And then the under chin part, I hope I don't make a smiley face, because that would be unfortunate. This is not supposed to be friendly. So actually that face is probably coming out far enough to where the cast shadow is going to be covering that. Okay, and under here. So it looks like that's all going to be in shadow. Possibly. I'm going to stop right there, and then I'm going to go back with my pen, and then I'm just going to darken up the tips of these spider legs with quick bursts, so thick to thin lines, like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pen and I'm going to do circular motions until I pinpoint a speck highlight on each eyeball. So I'm just going to move the pen in until I get a tiny little spot. There we go. You want those eyes to show up. So whenever you're doing creature design, just make sure that you put the majority of the emphasis near the mouth and the eyes, because the face is a place where we tend to look at most, especially for characters. When it comes to creatures and looking at a multi-eyed spider bat like this, you can probably focus on either one of those eyes. I don't know. All right, so I'm just taking my pen and I'm just going to lightly brush up some hatching going up the leg. Same thing with this one. Okay, but we are not done yet. Oh no. So instead of taking my pen and brushing in hatching over here, I'm just going to quickly outline very lightly where I think the body shadow is going to be on the ground. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Okay, because then what I want to do is I'm going to take my marker, not the fat end, I'm going to take the skinny end, and I'm going to very carefully color all that in pure black. Right, like that. These don't have to be perfect, but you do have to pay attention to make sure that the shape is something that you stayed with. There we go. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing to this one. So I'm just going to go underneath the toenails a little bit, just to show some of the white of the toenail poking through the shadow. A little bit over here on the flat side. So I'm going to stop, and then maybe a little bit over here, and then that's it. So this is how you essentially polish a scribble. Pure black, whether it's pen, marker, whatever you're using, has a lot of power in this type of lesson. So without further ado, let's put some color in there. I'm looking at my color set over here, and I'm going to try to get something that I normally don't use. How about this? This actually looks like a forest green. I don't know how this is going to turn out, so let's see. Let's put it on the... Nope, that does not look good. It's a little too dark. I didn't know how that was going to look. It was kind of a risk. I got one. Put a little orange right in here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a nice stripe going down the center of the face and all the way up the forehead to put some, some oomph to it. And I think that's kind of cool. So I'm going to duplicate some of that fiery shape going down those legs. And then I'm going to stop because, oh, you know what? Maybe the ear tip. This helps bring it all together. That thing's pretty wicked. I'm not going to lie. That thing's pretty wicked. All right, let's move on to another scribble. So hopefully you're following along with me. If you're following along, I would love to see what you all are working on. So if you have time, you can, stroll on over to our Discord. It's our Creature Design Workshop Discord, and free to join it. So please just tell us what you're working on. Post in the sketchbook forum. We have critique forums. We have so many places where you guys can post your work and get feedback. So right away I kind of drew a dog. I think the head, it reminds me of the alien in 10 Cloverfield Lane. Maybe I was subconsciously thinking of that before I did it. Very fast. So I put some motion into the actual dog creature, mainly because I wanted to show it trying to move on my paper. That's something we used. That's a technique that we used in transportation design back in the day in university, where we would draw these concept cars, and we wanted the concept cars to look like they were moving on the paper. It's very important to put energy into your sketches. This is why whenever I draw, you'll notice that some thick to thin lines are freely exiting my sketch. Well, not exiting it because they're a part of it. But if I'm going down this back and I see this tail, I'll just flick it off there so it looks like motion. Okay. That's why it's really important to have good line weight, thick to thin, thick to thin, like that. Because eventually I'm going to put some marker down there. I got to put the feet. Just an indication of the feet. They don't have to be anything special. Just trying to keep it simple, maybe like a dog-like foot. There we go. Definitely the underbelly of the tail. I don't think tails have underbelly. I think it's just the bottom of the tail. There's the gut. Okay. Now, the next spot is right down here where the shadow will exist on the ground. Just put a slight flat spot. Now I'm going to take the marker and just watch how this all comes together, even though this is super loose. All right, so I want to put in a little bit of style here, so maybe I'll go up the neck some, color that in black. I will color this belly in right here where the torso is. Definitely this part. That's behind the other legs. And then what I'm going to do is carefully follow this tail back up, get a little thicker with it down by the head of the tail where it comes out of the hip. Now down here at the tip, I can do a couple things. I can add to the tail, because this thing, the marker only gets so skinny before it doesn't really help you anymore. Because of the nature of the legs and they're being in front, I don't really want to add too much marker left. What I will do is I'll put the flat spot right inside the legs for the cast shadow, and I'm going to leave some of the paper tone under the foot to make it look like it belongs in that atmosphere or the environment. So now it looks like it's attached to the ground. I'm going to take my pen again, and now I'm going to put in some ears. This one's rather big. It's almost like a desert dog in Africa. Okay, but maybe I'll put the eye closer to the front. Okay, very, very docile looking, and almost like, man, it's almost like a ferret too. Let's put some hair back there. When it, you know, I don't put a lot of fur on my creatures, but some of them it's warranted. Some of them just look like they need fur, so I think I'm going to do that. All right, and then another cool technique, something that I didn't show you guys before, is wherever the black marker is, take your pen and lightly put some hatch shading coming up off of it. Right there. So it's a good idea to match the color. You don't want to do like blue ink with black. What this does is it looks like it's part of the original black shadow, and you did it all with one tool. Now obviously I can't cheat that. You're watching me do it, but it's kind of neat to try. Put in some anatomy here to make it look like each leg has its own hip. Okay, and then I might put in some extra fur on the back here. Now remember what I did up here to the spider legs. I'm going to do the same thing here. So I'm just going to add some darker tone with the pen and then move up the leg and lighten it. Like this. I'm going to come back over here and do the same. And then do the same over here. Okay, and then try to put some more detail into the head area. It's so small right there that I'm not really sure if we can even make anything distinct. And that's okay. Maybe it's supposed to be mysterious, but I do know a color that I think I want to use. I want to use a brownish color because I feel it's more earth tone. This creature just feels more earth-like, you know, coloring similar to a hyena or maybe a meerkat. There's like a darker brown right there. And I think what would be neat, I'll take a little bit lighter one, maybe this tannish color. Okay, and I think, oh, that's not tan. Ooh, what in the world is happening? Hold on a sec. This one might be good. It's not really a tan, but I think it's light enough to give me something cool. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that looks desertish. Matter of fact, let's just do that entire neck right there, part of the head. All right, and then we'll hint at it on that hip, hint at it on that hip, and then down the tail. Yeah, that looks very desertish, but I don't want to get too messy, so I think I might have to color all of that in so it looks cohesive. That looks decent. Hey, maybe that'll blend in with the planet that it lives on. Who knows? But without further ado, let's number these. 1, 2, 3. Gotta make sure I'm not drawing crooked too. Let's move on. So let's go over here. Let's do something aquatic. Okay, so maybe like a giant fish. A very crazy looking one, I don't know. Maybe something that floats. I mean, those sunfish are crazy looking. Maybe the eyes all the way down here. But then the fin is way up here, and then it's got a second set right here. And then maybe the look at that mouth. That is so wickedly bad. What is going on here? It's like a whale, but not really. Oh, that poor thing. It's about as ugly as a blobfish. I've actually had people argue with me on that. They've commented, I don't know where I drew it, but I said a blobfish is ugly. And they've argued with me saying that no, they're not ugly. That's just the way that media portrays them through photos and stuff. And I'm like, I've seen the photos. That's why I think they're ugly. It's okay if a fish is ugly, you know? There's some ugly animals out there. There really are. They even have contests to see who has the ugliest dog in the world. Google that. Google ugliest dog in the world. They're proud of it too. It's pretty funny. Okay, it probably needs gills. I don't think this thing lives very long either. But why don't we put, here, maybe you can get it in here. Let's put some fin in the back, like this. Okay, there we go. So this thing is not very, how should I put this, loved by its community. You know, it's probably the ugly duckling at the bottom of the ocean. But that's okay. We're going to spruce this ugly duckling up. All right. That thing is really gross. I don't know how I'm going to do the cast shadow on this. Let's find out. Let's do black. Okay, let's figure out where indeed a cast shadow would be. And obviously the big protruding chin coming out is going to have one right there. All right, so see how careful I was on that. And I'm going over my pen work just because it doesn't matter. We got that. We definitely have this ear. Okay, so we want to put that right there. Now, there's no scientific, accurate way to put marker down for a cast shadow right now. I'm not worried about that. So if you're wondering, how are you getting these shapes for the cast shadows? I'm just trying to imagine what the shapes look like if they're, you know, casting a shadow on a rounded surface or a flat surface of this animal. That's all. Oh, yeah, and I promised it has an ear too. So this thing has an ear. It was going to be a fin, but it's not anymore. I mean, I could put it in, yeah, let's just do that. So that's the inside of the fin. Oh, man. Did I just mess that up? I don't know. Maybe the shadow is a little bit too exaggerated right there. But you know what? That's okay, because maybe this creature casts that type of shadow. There we go. All right, so even with that, I will put in a slight outline to the body, thick to thin lines and controlled bursts. Like this, not really caring too much about where I'm putting things. Oh yeah, look at that big eye. Should it have tropical colors? I think so. Why don't we do something really, really crazy and put a strong blue in there? Okay guys, this is the moment of truth. I don't know how this is going to look. Okay, it's going to go up the head, and then maybe we can put in some cool little stripes near the eye, going down the face, and then maybe over here towards the ear, Can't believe this thing has an ear. Maybe the whole back of the head is blue. Yeah, why don't we just do that? Back of that whole body part. One more thing. Let's put an accent color. Let's do yellow. Actually, no. Yeah, let's do yellow. Why not? I think it'll show up on moleskin. Let's try it. But you got to use this sparingly. So the yellow, I think it'll work right there. That's it. Maybe some in between there, and then that's it. I don't want any more yellow. And that is our freakish underwater creature. So you can see here that if you just take some scribbles, neither one of them took too long. But in doing this technique, you were able to get some pretty cool sketches out. Now, none of these are finalized, but you can take the pen and you can really start putting in some details on some areas where you're excited about. You know, I always tell my students that if you're having a bunch of thumbnails and you're having trouble figuring out which ones you want to take to the next level and polish up, it's a good idea to figure out, hey, which one is my gut telling me that I want to add detail to? Which one is my eye drawn to all the time? And chances are, that's your subconscious telling you, I really like that one. If you found today's lesson helpful, I can give you some really cool things to think about. One, we have a Discord, Creature Design Workshop Discord. Free to join. It's a bustling community. There's a lot of people sharing their knowledge about the industry. We take all skill levels too. There's beginner, novice, advanced artists in there. We're all sharing doodles and references that we have. We even share pics about our studios and how those are coming along. And I also run a private mentorship, and I take all skill levels in that. So if you are a seasoned pro and you just want to brush up on your sketching ability, that's cool. Or if you're a complete noob and you can barely draw a cube, I also take in complete beginners too. And if you are interested in my online creature design course, Creature Design for Film and Games, please check the links in the description below for that too. And I want to thank everybody for watching today, and I'll see you next time. Peace.